March 6, 2018. I am on day 6 of no Suboxone, which I've been taking for maybe a year and a half now. Of course, one of the common stories you'll probably hear on Suboxone is that it's really difficult to keep a precise time as far as long term, and probably short term for many heavy users. Me, I never was what you could consider a really heavy Suboxone user. I'm actually at work right now. I'm not supposed to be on the phone, but I'm one of those people who has a problem with not giving a fuck. So there you go. I have a very strong will. I took tramadols for probably 7 years. I know a lot of people are like, oh, tramadols, that's like fucking Advil. It's really hard to get fucked up off of it, and if you do, it's not a good buzz. But what it does is, first of all, it helps you with your pain, because I was on tramadols because I broke my tibia and fibula. I think that's how you say it. I broke it clean, trying to run for the bus on an icy day one day, trying to make it to work on time. And of course they start me off on all the hard stuff, perks and all that stuff, but even before that, I did pills long before that. I've been doing like everything since I was 16. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like an everyday pill popper like that until probably like 22, 23. Before I broke my leg at 26, I started popping Vicodins and Percocets, but even when I was doing it, I didn't like, it was helping me, and I definitely needed some assistance, because I also have a torn rotator cuff that I've been dealing with since I can remember in high school, and I went to a doctor and he diagnosed it as a torn rotator cuff, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what it is that's going on with my left shoulder, because I didn't think it was a thorough exam. It was a pain specialist, and he was just like, oh yeah, you probably got a torn rotator cuff. Was that. He says, like, it's pretty common. Yeah, it bothers me all the time. It's fucking killing me. Like, while dealing with this no Suboxone, my shoulder, actually, I'm supposed to wear my harness like this, but I break the rules around here because I really don't give a fuck about rules that I don't agree with. And that takes a lot of relief off my shoulder right there. Especially even when I'm on Suboxone and painkillers, my shoulder still fucking kills me. And also, I did shatter my wrist. I fell about 30 feet and shattered my wrist after I broke my leg, long after I broke my torn rotator cuff. So I'm dealing with quite a bit of everyday pain. And as far as my Suboxone use was, even in the beginning, I had a hard time. It made me sick, so I had to take a low dosage of Suboxone. On a 2 milligram, I could only take a half at the most, and that would make me really sick. So I was one of those people that I'm always concerned about finances, and when I realized that I could get by on a quarter strip of Suboxone, one in the morning, and then a quarter, maybe one for lunch and maybe one for bed, so less than a strip a day compared to like 12, 15 tramadols a day, or 10 Percocets a day, or a bunch of pills. It's just like, to me, that in itself was a huge improvement. And that also, that it was really accessible. Unlike pills and heroin, I've also experimented with heroin. I mean, more than experimented, but I never used a needle, but definitely have snorted quite a bit of heroin and smoked it. It's very disgusting. First time I ever tried it, I smoked it, and that was the last time. Or maybe I tried it the second time, smoking it, and I was like, nah, I can't do this shit. Is there another way? And the residential heroin expert in Santa Cruz, California at the time was like, oh yeah, you can take a little bit and dissolve it into a small shot glass with a little bit of water, and get you a little eyedropper and tilt your head back. And once I did that, that feeling that you get when it hits the gland, that itchiness, was like the best artificial, I can't even say artificial because it's mostly natural, but laced with a lot of artificial stuff that they cut heroin with. But that feeling that I got, it was almost like I was walking around in heaven that day. And I was like, why the fuck have I been doing pills this whole time? Like, not only is heroin cheaper, but it is better. So that's that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to end this video and restart it. I just wanted to start this because I'm on day 6 right now. Like I said, I wasn't a heavy Suboxone user, but I used every day, and I use opiates every day. I'm about to be 35, and in like a month, and I've been using opiates pretty much full time since I was 23, I believe. So I have been a long-term opiate user. I just have ration, unlike most people who just like to party all the time. For me, I used it to be responsible. But I'm gonna cut this video, pause it for a second. Alright, and I'm back. I had a coworker rolling up on me. Hopefully I didn't just flip the video upside down. But yeah, I'm still been going to work. No Suboxone, 6 days now. February 28th was 2018. Was the last day that I took Suboxone. I actually still have Suboxone at home. Actually, I bring it to work with me every day. Kind of makes me feel comfortable knowing that I have it. Like, I have that kind of will to bring it with me. And not do it. I don't know why, but not having access to it while dealing with this minimum goo. One of my coworkers, sorry about that. One of our call signs. It is break time. I am going to break, and whoever is watching this is coming with me. Let's do this, guys. Heading out to break. Yeah, I don't feel bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel like shit. It always helps when it's a good looking day outside, but this is Columbus, Ohio. Gets pretty cold for winter time. The high temperature today is like 41 degrees. Yesterday it was in the 30s, so it hovers around freezing. Not a good time to not the best time, the ideal time to be getting off of opiates, because I have been absolutely freezing. I have so many clothes on right now, it's ridiculous. I got my thermals on from head to toe, thermal socks, plus like 3 more layers of clothes on top of that. Yeah. All right. Now I can talk without risking getting fired, because yeah, I work at a place where absolutely no phone use. We're not even technically supposed to have our phones on us, but they don't want to. I mean, never mind. They know we have our phones, but if you're a good worker, they're not gonna give you a hard time, as long as you're being discreet about it. But back to my opiate use and me quitting Suboxone. I still smoke marijuana. I don't like calling it marijuana. I don't even know why I called it that. Weed, cannabis, because marijuana is actually a derogatory term used to make it look bad. I have no problems with anybody doing any drugs. I feel like all drugs should be legal. But I do have a problem with big pharma and the government and the way they keep us from all the natural stuff, like the kratom, the cannabis, even the opium, or not the opium, the poppies. Everybody should be able to grow these plants. Mushrooms, like if we had all these homeopathic herbs, we would not even need big pharma. There would not be a big pharma. Big pharma would not operate. This is why they make homeopathic drugs a Schedule 1 narcotic, because I don't even like calling them drugs. That's not even a drug. A drug is what comes from the pharmacy. By the way, the pharmacy, they're treating animals. That's why they call it a pharmacy. So any treatment you receive from any medication you receive from the pharmacy, you are personifying cattle, an animal, by going to their pharmacy. And also, just so you know, most of us are dead. That's why we go to the hospital for health care. But that's a story for another time. So 6 days clean of no Suboxone. How do I feel? Well, I haven't been, like I said, I don't have my Suboxone on me right now. I have it in my bag over in the locker room area. I could have showed you to, later on I'll put a sample on video to show people what I've been doing on a daily basis. For the past few months, I've been taking a very small amount. I realize how powerful Suboxone is. It's a very, when they first had the 2 milligram strips, and I've never went to a Suboxone clinic for myself, but I have went to Suboxone clinics with other people, and I was shocked to find out when they had this, I heard of methadone, I've done methadone, wasn't a big fan of methadone. Tramadol, I actually liked tramadol because it allowed me to function without feeling like I was in an altered state and I had help with the pain. But I don't like the fact that if I go without tramadol, the withdrawals are just as bad as all the other withdrawals I've dealt with Percocets, Vicodin, heroin. Now Suboxone, this is actually the first time I believe I'm dealing with a Suboxone withdrawal, which, I mean, they're all pretty similar. And like I said, I've been taking a small amount, and it's been rough, don't get me wrong. Like yesterday, I've been going to work every day. I don't work on the weekend. So last Wednesday morning, it is now Tuesday, 6 days later. Last Wednesday morning, I took my last small piece of Suboxone. And I'm not gonna lie, I had some assistance. I ran into a friend who happened to have some Adderall, and I hadn't done any Adderall in over a year. I'm done plenty of Adderall. There are times that I enjoy using Adderall, and there's many times where I'm like, I really don't like the way this drug makes me feel. I don't like to have my heart. I don't like to be jumpy. You know, I was on Adderall that first day, that first Wednesday, maybe it was the second day, when I woke up Thursday and didn't take no Suboxone, and I just took like a half of Adderall, 30 milligram. And I went in the bathroom to go take a piss in a urinal, and my boss opened the door up to the bathroom, and I about jumped out of my skin while I was taking a piss. That's never happened to me. Normally when I'm in there taking a piss, I could care less if anybody happens to open the door up. But when he came in and I'm sitting there taking a piss, I was like, oh shit, like, and that's not me. I don't like that. So I did have some assistance with Adderall. I had, I think, 6 Adderalls, 6 30 milligram Adderalls, and I could have got way more. I could have got way more Adderall. Actually, my buddy gave me a bunch of Adderall. I was like, no, here, take all this back. Like, because at the time I didn't have money, and I was gonna have to come back on payday, and I paid him back on payday. But he was like trying to get me a bunch. I'm like, no, just give me 6 of them. I was over here making a video.
He's making a video?
Yeah, it's all good. About my Suboxone detox. Yeah.